Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Ventura Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Bonnie Rose. It is delightful to see all of you this morning, and also delightful to know that people are watching us at home this morning and later on during the day. And throughout the coming weeks and the coming years, may we be immortal. Anyway, welcome to our Kindness Cathedral and to our Temple of Transformation. So glad you're here. I'm going to turn this news over to Lonnie, our board president.
Good morning, everyone. So, I like that talk, Bonnie. Anxiety. We had a little fun this morning, and I just want to give a big shout out to our tech team. Woohoo! Woohoo! We're hoping it holds together, and yes, I'm on the wrong side, and it's thrown Bonnie off a little bit, but welcome and settle in, Let's learn a little bit about anxiety. I know, I felt a little. How about you?
Thank you, Lonnie. Okay, so we're going to hear from Bill Hadras, who's one of our youth and family folks. So come on down, Bill. Good to see you, kiddo.
Good morning. Could I have the children join me that want to? Come on down. No, George? Not today? All righty. No problem. Well, as Bonnie said, I'm Bill Hadras with Youth and Family. Today's a good day. I'd like everyone to start out by thinking of a happy time in their life or a very peaceful place you've been, some place that calms you and you feel wonderful when you're there. Picture that in your mind. There are times when we're scared, worried about something that happened earlier, maybe yesterday, day before, that's bothering us, sometimes really long time ago. Or maybe we're afraid of what's going to happen, something that's coming up the next day or two, or later that day. But you know what? It's a shame to spoil a good day by thinking about a bad one. So I learned a new way to feel great in the present moment. And I invite you to practice with me. So take a second, find your heart, put your hand on it if you want. And then notice as you breathe, you can feel the air coming in and out as if your heart's doing the breathing. Now, as your heart's breathing, think again of that happy place or that happy time. And let it go. So with that, I invite you to repeat after me. Today is a good day.
Today is a good day.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
So if you just go back to that place that Bill helped you find, take a deep breath in and be right where you are. Let the chair support you or bed or wherever you are. And just breathe in. And as you breathe in, knowing that you can breathe in the all-presence of God. God being all peace, all calm, all ease, all love. And as you breathe in this allness of God, knowing that it's the universe, it's the sea, the sky, the stars, the moon, the very special place that you found is all God and is surrounded by the universal God presence. And I know that I am connected at the core of my being to this God presence. And I know this for every single person here in this sanctuary, every person who is listening, watching, and just every person this is available. And I know that as you breathe in that calm place that Bill talked about, that all worry, all doubt, all challenges of thought that are less than love, less than ease, less than peace, can dissolve away with your breath, breathing in the peace and the calm, and knowing that as our service unfolds, we send out healing blessings to surround Kenny, who's our chief tech guy, sending him blessings, and knowing that he's missed. And we eased into the worry of how is it going to work, knowing that God is in this place. And for each of you, each of us, knowing that our breath is our ability to ease and to be at calm and to be at peace. And as our service unfolds, that new ideas and new thoughts about letting go of anything that creates anxious thoughts, anything that creates less than peace, we can learn new ways and open our hearts and minds to a peaceful and calm life with God as our creator, co-creating the life that we live step by step, moment by moment. I'm so thankful for this knowing and for the renewal of the knowing that we experience every time we visit the center here, listen to the messages, take our readings, take our meditations, that we revisit the calm, the peace that passes all understanding of what might be looking like something to be anxious about, knowing that it is within the breath. And I'm so thankful for this knowing, for this presence, thankful for the remembering that we are a part of something bigger than our little human fears and anxious thoughts. We are so much bigger than that. And with my thanks, I release all of my words into the divine law, the law of manifestation, knowing that it is all true as we say. And so it is.
And so it is. And so we breathe ever deeper into Linda's beautiful words that draw us into the place of inner peace that is with us always. We rest there and we listen to the words of our sacred reading.
A Process of Retraining the Mind by Bhante Gunaratna. Gently but firmly, without getting upset or judging yourself for straying, simply return to the simple physical sensation of the breath. Then do it again, and do it again the next time, and again, and again, and again. Somewhere in this process, you will come face to face with the sudden and shocking realization that you are completely crazy. Your mind is a shrieking, gibbering madhouse on wheels, barreling pell-mell down the hill, utterly out of control and hopeless. No problem. You are not crazier than you were yesterday. It's always been this way. You just never noticed. So don't let this realization unsettle you. It is a milestone, really, a sign of real progress. The very fact that you have looked at the problem straight in the eye means that you are on your way up and out of it. In the wordless observation of the breath, there are two states to be avoided: thinking and sinking. The thinking mind manifests most clearly as the monkey mind phenomenon we have just been discussing. The sinking mind is almost the reverse. As a general term, sinking mind denotes any dimming of awareness. At its best, it is sort of a mental vacuum in which there is no thought, no observation of the breath, no awareness of anything. It is a gap, a formless mental gray area, rather like a dreamless sleep. Sinking mind is a void. Avoid it. When you find you have fallen into the state of sinking mind, just note the fact and return your attention to the sensation of breathing. Observe the tactile sensation of the in-breath. Feel the touch sensation of the out-breath. Breathe in, breathe out, and watch what happens. Don't set goals for yourself that are too high to reach. Be gentle with yourself. You are trying to follow your own breathing continuously and without a break. That sounds easy enough. So you will have a tendency at the outset to push yourself to be scrupulous and exacting. This is unrealistic. Take time in small units instead. At the beginning of an inhalation, make the resolve to follow the breath just for the period of that one inhalation. Even this is not so easy, but at least it can be done. Then at the start of the exhalation, resolve to follow the breath just for that one exhalation all the way through. You may still fail repeatedly, but keep at it. Every time you stumble, start over. Take it one breath at a time. This meditation is a process of retraining the mind. It takes practice. So, we start small.
And so let us train our minds right now to remember the place within us that has never forgotten us, that has never moved away from us, but sometimes through our thinking, we move away from it. Together we recognize the I am presence. As we sing together, I am remembering who I am, we remember that I am is another name for love or God, for joy. And so in singing this, we are saying, I am remembering that I am joy. I am remembering that I am pure love. I am remembering that I am peace. And because there is only one essential self that is shared by all beings everywhere, that is shared throughout the entire cosmos, as we remember for ourselves, we remember for everyone. Let us place our masks over our noses and mouths and sing together, I am remembering who I am.
I am
in the sweet stillness of inner remembrance. Let us bring the inner to the outer as we breathe in deeply, and then gently open our eyes in love and in service to what is as it is. And so it is.
May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, upon your face. May the rain fall softly on your fields, and until we meet again, may you keep safe in the gentle, loving arms of God. For everything there is a season, a time for laughter, a time for tears and pain. In all things, God is near, always guiding your way. For everything there is a season, a time for searching, a time for calm and peace. In all things, God is near, always guiding your way. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, upon your face. May the rain fall softly on your fields, and until we meet again, may you keep safe in the gentle, loving arms of God.
Hello again, everybody. So, a couple of things I want to say first. Again, thank you for coming. I did want to just mention, too, that Barb made a special point of putting our friend Thich Nhat Hanh in the front row because he passed away. So we wish him Godspeed on his journey, whatever that may be. Nobody knows, but there he is, and bless him for all of the good work he has done in the world. I also wanted to just give you a little COVID update. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sitting socially distanced with masks on. I look at the numbers really carefully all the time, and it does appear that the R effective factor is decreasing, which means that the spread is slowing. Fingers crossed, knocking on wood, even though we're not supposed to be suspicious in this church, it means that perhaps we have peaked and Omicron, or oh my God-acron, as one of our practitioners calls it, is on its way down. So we'll just be hopeful, and we'll continue to do what we need to do to try and keep people as safe as possible, okay? That being said, one more little announcement is that we're trying something slightly new this morning. As you know, we're sort of doing some scrambling around with some tech and sound issues, and also because of the nature of my topic, I decided to use PowerPoint slides today. And we put it together in a real hurry. And so if I'm standing in front of a slide that you want to see, we're still experimenting with fonts and whatnot and visibility and all that, please, by all means, just go like that and I'll step aside, okay? Because we're not sure of the staging. Let me tell you about my life. If I stand down here, it cuts off the heads of the choir for the people watching on television, but if I stand up here, I block the screen. So talk about anxiety, right? No, but seriously, today I am talking about anxiety because it's been my impression, as working as a minister for almost, over 20 years now, is that a lot of people approach me, and a lot of the root of a lot of people's problems seems to be anxiety. So if there's anyone here without any anxiety whatsoever, please feel free to stand up and let us worship you, and maybe you can come up here and do the talk, because I'm not an expert. Oh, hi, Ed. Good for you. Good job. I am not an expert at overcoming anxiety. Let's just say that I'm an expert at working on it, okay? So there's a thing in our denomination that Ernest Holmes says that a lot of people quote. Ernest Holmes is the founder of our denomination. He's sitting right there, next to Gandhi, next to my dog dressed up as a nun, and that's Ernest Holmes right in the middle. And Ernest Holmes said that to heal, we must turn entirely away from the condition. That can be interpreted in various ways. The way that my mind works is I kind of visualize like a neurosurgeon, right? Think about maybe Derek Shepherd on Grey's Anatomy, you know? And he's about ready to do the surgery. He's all scrubbed up, and he says, you know what? I'm going to turn entirely away from the condition. And he turns around, and he goes, scalpel. Oh my God, what did I just cut? Not so much, no, right. I also think about Jerry Lee Lewis, who could play the piano backwards, right? I'm hoping Chris will try that later on today. Okay, good. Sometimes, we don't want to be too literal with that statement, but sometimes it's more appropriate to look directly at the condition and shine light upon it and see what it has to teach us. And that's my approach with working with anxiety today. Working with anxiety today to understand it. Again, why anxiety? Because a lot of us have it. A lot of us struggle with anxiety, whether it's now in these current circumstances or perhaps our whole lives. It's a psychological issue. It's a spiritual issue. It's a social issue. It's a practical issue. Psychologically, psychology is the study of mind and behavior. And anxiety takes place in the mind. It's not necessarily so much about what's happening out here. It is what is happening in our mind in response or reaction to what is happening out here. Spiritually, this spiritual center, we call ourselves a center of love, but we're also a center of what I would call spiritual psychology, in that a lot of our teaching is that we examine our minds, which is the place where we have real power, is to look within our own selves and look at our reactivity around things and then adjust our thinking to be less about the small mind and more in alignment with the big mind. Even the way that we pray in this center, if you're new here and you heard Linda do her beautiful prayer, you may have noticed that she did 5 steps. And that 5 steps that are hard to discern unless you know the 5 steps. But first we align with that big mind. First we acknowledge the big mind, the truth of God, and then we align ourselves with it. And everything else from there just flows. So this is a church of spiritual psychology because we are changing our thinking to change our lives. Socially, there seems to be a lot of social anxiety right now, not only about the pandemic, but just in general, about a lot of things that are going on. I was listening to a lecture by Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, and it was about COVID, and somebody stood up and said something about COVID, and Esther and Abraham said, the real pandemic is fear. And fear has been around a lot longer than COVID, and fear will persist unless we address it. So there's that. And a lot of the fear and the anxiety that we're feeling, whether it's about COVID or other things, it's manifesting in things like greed and violence and tribalism and polarization. All of these things that are really manifestations of fear, and fear is a manifestation of ignorance of our true nature, which is our oneness with God and with all things. And then there's anxiety on a practical level. There's a lovely quote by Ernest Holmes that says, "Prepare your mind to receive the best life has to offer." Prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer. And that's part of why we address anxiety. Anxiety is like lowering the bar so that the best that life has to the best that life has to offer can climb over that hurdle and get to us. Anxiety opens us up to receive the greater yet to be. The release of anxiety opens us up to receive the greater yet to be. All right, does that make sense? So it's psychological, spiritual, social, and practical. I'm using a book called Don't Feed the Monkey Mind by Jennifer Shannon. She's a therapist. Jennifer Shannon is a licensed marriage and family therapist, and she treats people with anxiety using CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and she also acknowledges that she struggles with anxiety for herself. Now, I love that title, Don't Feed the Monkey Mind, because I love monkeys. But why monkeys? Why monkeys, people? Why? Well, let's see a picture of a monkey. I have never had a monkey, but I am monkey adjacent. And then that is a picture of my husband Hugh when he was in his 20s, and that is his monkey, Sydney. That's so cute. That is little Sydney. And Sydney, gosh, she sounds like she was a really good girl, but to hear Hugh talk about Sydney, she was a handful. She was a handful. She had, first of all, 5 working appendages. That's 2 hands, 2 feet, and a tail. And they could all grab things. And when a monkey grabs something and gets tired of it, what does it do? It throws it. Sydney also was emotional and dramatic and very active and very playful. But he loved her all the same, just like we can do with our own monkey minds. But she still had that monkey personality, which was very, very rambunctious and very active and liked to chatter. In fact, I have a quote about that says, "Your mind," this is from the sacred reading, "your mind is a shrieking, gibbering madhouse on wheels, barreling pell-mell down the hill, utterly out of control and helpless." That's from a Buddhist Bhante Gunaratna, right? So that's how our minds work in terms of the monkey mind. And then there's another quote from the book, from the monkey mind book that we're featuring this week, and that is, "The monkey mind is a loyal, hardworking component dedicated to your safety. It just gets a little wild and overactive sometimes, like a monkey, like beloved Sydney." You know, the monkey mind needs something to do, right? It needs something to do. And that's actually what ended up happening to Sydney. I know people after the service will ask me what happened to Sydney, Hugh's monkey. And what happened basically was that they lived in New York for a while and traveled a bit together. They went to Spain together. And then when it came time for Hugh to go to England to pursue his spiritual path, poor little Sydney would have had to be in quarantine for 6 months in England. And they just couldn't do that to her. So they gave her to some farmers. And she lived the rest of her life, 20 years or so, just swinging from tree to tree and doing all kinds of monkey things and coming in at night. So God bless Sydney that she found her true calling in life. And I think our monkey mind can find its true calling in life too. The source of the monkey mind, though, you know, the thing is that all of these things, I love this quote because it makes it sound like the monkey mind is actually, there's a positive aspect to it. It's loyal and hardworking, and it's dedicated to our safety. There's a part of the brain, let's see the picture of the brain. There's a part of the brain that is kind of responsible for the monkey mind, and that is this part up here. It's the amygdala, these two little knobs there, the amygdala. The author of this book that we're featuring, Don't Feed the Monkey Mind, says that all transmissions, all sensations pass through the amygdala. She said it's kind of like the TSA, you know, at the airport, security screening. Everything has to pass through that line. And sometimes the monkey mind, the amygdala, gets fixated on something and it needs a little pat down, right? It needs some extra attention, usually something that's going to terrify us. The monkey mind, the brain, has 2 important functions. One of the functions is to make sure that the body stays safe, And so the monkey mind, every stimulus goes through the amygdala, and the monkey mind is assessing whether or not this is friend or foe. It's kind of like, you know, when I'm hiking in the trails in Ojai, when I'm hiking with my dogs. I do 2 things consistently. I listen for noises in the bushes, and I watch the body language of my dogs. And that tells me that something good or bad might be about to happen. You know, and I kind of do it automatically. But the thing, too, is that I want us to remember is that all of sensations, all of our perceptions are actually happening in the brain. You know, our ears are sensory like organs that send signals to the brain, and the eyes are the same thing. They send light wave signals to the brain, and everything is assessed by the brain. Everything goes through the TSA line in the brain, and the brain makes a decision about it to decide whether it's friend or foe. When I hear a rustle in the bushes and I see my dog's body get tense and she starts to bark, I ask myself, okay, what is this? What is this? On and on. The sorting system of my mind. I ask myself, is this a lizard? Is this a squirrel? Is this a skunk? Uh-oh. Is this a wild cow? Right? Is this a cougar? Or a mountain lion, rather? Is this a bear? Is it a pack of wild pigs? Let's see that pack of wild pigs. It could happen, people. It could happen. So the number one function of the brain is to keep us safe. And I'm sure that every one of us has experienced that, but we're not always aware that we're experiencing it. And sometimes we're faulting ourselves for that anxiety, for that monkey mind business, because we don't recognize that it's trying to help, that it's trying to keep us safe. A really great example of the monkey mind trying to keep us safe is when you're driving. When you're driving, and let's say something darts out in front of you, whether it's a person or a tumbleweed or another car, don't you automatically just step on the brake, right? And that's how fast the monkey mind works, the amygdala works, the TSA system works. The stimulus goes right in there, and lickety-split, it tells your body what to do through a surge of hormones, right? So the monkey mind can be a good thing. It just gets a little overzealous sometimes. There's another function of the monkey mind, and I found this to be something that I've known, but I haven't really quite thought about in the context of current situations in the world. The monkey mind also strives to help us survive through keeping us connected. I want you to think back for a moment to the days of prehistoric animals. Let's see the prehistoric animal on the screen. Sorry to those folks that are sitting on this side. That's actually, to legitimize the guinea pig dressed as a dragon, I put a quote from the Bible in there. That's from the book of Genesis. There were giants in the earth in those days. If you think back to the days of prehistoric animals, the caveman days, let's say, we were vulnerable. We're vulnerable compared to an attack guinea pig or a dinosaur or a T-Rex or a saber-toothed tiger. We have thin skin. We have delicate organs. And it was essential for us, important for us, to stay in packs, to stay in groups, to connect. So the monkey mind is constantly assessing our surroundings to ensure that we are remaining connected with our group, with our peer group, with our social group, with a group that we feel will keep us safe and intact and loved. We are constantly looking for stimuli to ensure that we are part of the group. Have you ever had somebody look at you the wrong way, right? And you think, well, that person doesn't like me anymore, right? And it sends forth a flow of anxiety, a flow of fear, a flow of what could I have done differently? What's wrong with me? What have I done? I remember once a long time ago, this was years and years ago, we had a sort of a newcomer come to the church, and she was new in one of my classes, and all of a sudden, abruptly, she left. We didn't know why. We didn't think we had done anything wrong. I didn't think I had done anything wrong. But myself and 2 TAs decided that she left because of us. We each had an individual reason. It was stuff like, I accidentally left my purse on her chair, so she quit, things like that. We make up all kinds of stuff out of anxiety to show us, to determine that we don't belong anymore, that we've done something wrong. I ended up calling her, and it had nothing to do with any of that. But you see, that's what we do. We look at signals, and we look at signals, and we use them to assess what we might have done wrong, so that we can correct it and come back and be part of the pack that we think we belong to. The other thing that happens to me a lot as a minister is that some people are scared of the word minister. They think, I see people doing that with me. They hear that I'm a minister, and they start judging me like I'm going to judge them. particularly in the LGBTQ community, LGBTQ plus community, I have to prove myself that I'm not going to judge people for being gay, for being in a same-sex marriage, same-sex relationship. It takes a while for me to earn trust because many, many gay people have been traumatized by ministers. And so, I just take it slowly and just continue to build trust. But I see evidence of this thing that I'm not going to belong to this person because she's going to think badly of me, even if it's not true. Even if it's not true. To me, it's like it doesn't make any difference. It's like eye color. It's just something genetic that people are either gay or straight or something in between or what have you. So this kind of thing is going on all the time around us, all of the time. And I really wonder, as we've been looking at the shape that the world is taking right now, where there is so much polarizing and so much arguing and so much tribalism and so much people deciding that this person is wrong and I'm right, or I'm wrong and this person is right, all of that. We look at all of this stuff, and I wonder if maybe that is part of the anxiety reaction, the fear reaction, the amygdala deciding that I have to be in this tribe, and in order for me to be in this tribe, I have to other the other person. I have to make the other person wrong. I remember speaking with a mayor, a local mayor one time, and she was saying how hard it was in politics right now, even in this small town where she was the mayor, how hard it was to get people to agree. Because there's this side over here, there's this side over here. If this person starts moving towards this side just a little bit, the people over here start hating this person who's moving towards this side just a little bit, right? And I don't know about you guys, but for me, looking at that as a function of the brain that is sort of trying to help but kind of getting in the way, that helps me understand polarization a bit more. It helps me understand tribalism a bit more, and it also gives me a greater level of compassion for it. I'm with Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm going to paraphrase him. Where'd he go? He was right in front last week. Oh, he's in the back now. Okay. So I was going to paraphrase him and saying that you can't drive out tribalism with more tribalism, can you? Just think of it as a function of the brain, of biology, and perhaps that opens up a little more compassion in our hearts for what's going on. The other thing about anxiety, about this TSA system that we have in our head, passing through the amygdala, screening everything and deciding what's real, what gives us fear, what is benign, is that we often make new decisions based on old information. You ever heard that thing from the Bible about how you can't pour new wine into old skins, right? We're trying to pour new wine into old skins all the time, and the skins crack. Things break open if you pour new wine into old skins. And so in our choice, in our habit rather, it doesn't even feel like a choice at some point, in our habit of doing that, of making new decisions based on old information, we often distort reality, and we often are afraid of things that are no longer fearful. Let's have a picture of the dog. Is that the next one? Yeah. So there's a dog running away from the vacuum cleaner. Anybody experience that at your house? Dogs, cats, whatever? Yeah. Terrifying. Terrifying. The mailman, they consider that he's coming to pillage their toys and the kibble and all that stuff. The cat, I once had a cat where back when I used to care about personal hygiene, that's another topic. I had taken a shower and I put a shower cap on the floor and the cat acted like it was a UFO that had landed. She was just stalking around it like it was terrifying. So you see that in the animal kingdom, but as one of our practitioners that passed away this past year would say, every class I taught, she would always say, you know what, we'd have this huge discussion about all these esoteric things, and at the end she'd say, well, I just got to say, we're all animals. We're all animals. You know who I'm talking about, Linda Dye. We're all animals. We're all animals. So we have this thing to misinterpret things that are actually not going to hurt us. I doubt that person in the slippers and the robe is going to suck up the dog in the vacuum cleaner. So we have that going on all the time. And again, that translates into modern society. Like when you look at headlines. It's such a small fragment of the story that we're telling, and it's almost designed to whip us up and put us in this fear place where we are separating, where we are polarizing, where we are using our monkey mind to establish this tribalism that actually doesn't serve us. Go ahead, if boys and girls, if you would, put up the headline that I have. Now, this one wasn't really a nasty headline. I couldn't go there. I couldn't put up anything too dark because it is church. I just thought it was funny. Jesus' sandal found in Central Park. Solved. Mystery of his missing shoe. There's so much wrong with that. First of all, is there a mystery of his missing shoe? I don't think so. I don't recall that from my study of the Gospels. Well, the crucifixion would have been complete, but there is that missing shoe. Most of him raised from the raised on the third day, but the missing shoe. And then, how did it end up in Central Park? I've been to Central Park so many times. I used to live right near there, jog around the reservoir. I never found Jesus' missing sandal. What's wrong with me? But we do that. You know, there's a thing that they say in this denomination, if it's in your head, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Also, if it's in a headline, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. It's only a fragment of the story, or it's completely made up in some cases, honestly. So we make up stories and then we assume that we're true, and again, that they're true. And again, that's part of us trying to find comfort. That's part of us trying to find relief from anxiety, is to say, this is true, I am right, therefore I am safe. I have control over my life because I know the truth. Well, guess what? Nothing is true entirely, right? I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do it again. I've done it many times, but we're going to do it right now. I want you all to touch your elbow. Touch your elbow. Good job, everybody. Okay, I'm done. No, touch your elbow and then ask yourself, are you touching your body? Yes. Are you touching your entire body? No, right? Our relationship, good job, you guys. Our relationship with truth is very similar. We touch a portion of the truth. Maybe not that, but we touch a portion of the truth and think that we're touching the entire truth, when really there are so many facets to every single story that we hear, not only about ourselves, but about the world. So many facets, so many unseen things, okay? So this is kind of the morass that we're in. Two more things about the way the monkey mind works, by the way, before I move on to how we're going to start to address this. We've talked a lot about how the monkey mind is trying to protect us. It's trying to keep our bodies safe. It's trying to keep us connected socially. We've also talked about how the monkey mind distorts. There are two major distortions that the monkey mind does. One of them is that it overestimates threats. Now, that may be hard to hear because we've just been through something that has felt very threatening, but it does tend to overestimate threats. It tends to envision the worst case scenario possible, right? The other one is that it underestimates our ability and resources to cope with threats. The best story that I have about this is confidential, so I won't go into it too deeply, but it was a long time ago, back when I used to work in the field of psychiatry. I was working in an outpatient psychiatric treatment center, and there was this one woman, very sweet gal, but very, very anxious, and she was waiting for a diagnosis. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was some kind of diagnosis that could possibly change her life. And I remember speaking with her, just casually, just sort of over lunch or something, and I said to her, is there any possibility that it could be good news? She said, absolutely not, right? And so we left it at that for a moment. And then I said to her, if it isn't good news, is there any possibility that you'll have the resources to cope with it? Absolutely not. You know, and I loved that conversation. It was probably 20 years ago, and I think about it all the time because it's such a mirror of the way that I see myself reacting to reality sometimes. And it's really a mirror for the consciousness of humanity, in that something comes, we're afraid of it, We feel that we overestimate what it's going to bring up on us, or the fear or the threat to us, and then we underestimate our ability to cope with it. Not only our ability to deal with what happens, but also our ability to handle the emotions that come up when what happens, if it happens. You get that? If it happens. I remember being in Sedona once with my husband studying the Sedona method, and we had to do this process where we had to say something that we were worried about. And I was going on and on and on about something I was worried about and how it was definitely going to happen. And he just said to me, "You don't know what's going to happen." Dang it, he was right. He was right and I was wrong. You heard it here first. It may be the only time you ever hear it, but here first. All right. So what do we do about this? What do we do about the way we're made? I think the first thing that we do is we just love it and we celebrate it. We love it and we celebrate it because, it's all part of the divine. It really is. All of this stuff exists for a purpose. One of my reasons for doing this talk about anxiety is that sometimes in spiritual circles, especially in church centers like this, or actually probably every faith, that we're supposed to have faith. We're supposed to be walking hand in hand with God. We're supposed to know better. We're supposed to change our thinking. And then if we don't, if something sneaks in, if something anxious sneaks in, then we have shame about that. We say, "Oh, I'm doing it wrong. See, I did that wrong too." Let me ask you a question. Do you think shame produces more anxiety or less anxiety? More anxiety. Good job, people. Good job. So this is really like a shameless look at anxiety. It's just part of the human condition. It is biological. We were given these biological brains for good reasons. It doesn't mean we can't transcend our biology from time to time, but it also means that we can be a little bit forgiving of ourselves when we're having biological reactions to what we perceive as external threats. Okay? So first of all is forgiveness. Second thing, I really liked what Hugh read in that reading today, that business about breathing. Breathing is a really good thing. Who agrees with me that breathing is a really good thing? Breathing slowly. And I also liked that this guy, Bonte, whatever his name he was so gentle. He had very low standards for breathing. I love low standards at times, that you just commit to sticking with your in-breath. I did it, yay! And then you commit to following your out-breath. And if you do that 20 times a day, or if you want to start even slower, do it 5 times a day, that's better than yesterday. And then maybe the next day you can do a little more, and maybe at some point you'll be able to do 2 breaths consecutively. I think breathing is such a beautiful, beautiful release for anxiety. And there's all kinds of physiological reasons for that as well. But just for us to know now, what he said and what Bante said, just breathe in and follow the breath. And then exhale and follow the breath. And somehow, the anxiety's still there if you want to pick it up, but it goes away for a minute, doesn't it? When you're focused on breathing. Isn't that a miracle? The other thing, I think, is to be inquisitive about all of the things that I've said today. All of these things that I've said about our relationship with anxiety is about how to understand our own anxiety from a place of compassion and forgiveness even more. So let's have the slide of the questions we're going to ask. I think the font is probably a little bit too small, but we can ask ourselves, and these will be online, by the way, in case you can't read them. We can ask ourselves, just to be really clear, what physical threat am I perceiving? And if it's not a physical threat, what social or connection threat do I perceive? Be really honest about it. We can ask ourselves, in light of these threats, what is it that I'm trying to protect or preserve? And then ask ourselves, is it possible that I'm misperceiving? We all misperceive all the time. It's kind of like the dog with the vacuum cleaner, right? It may not really be a threat. It may just be what is. Or am I overestimating the threat? Remember, the 2 assumptions that we make are we overestimate the threat and we underestimate our ability to cope with it. Or am I underestimating my ability to quote? And then, this is right from the Sedona method, beautiful method of release. Can I just allow all of this to be? Because if we resist it, it will persist. So we just allow all of it to be. We relax into it. We breathe. We just let it be. And we'll notice if we allow it to be, if we stop resisting it, it tends to just kind of flutter off into the native nothingness from where it came. And then, can I rest as a compassionate witness to all that is? Can I rest as a compassionate witness to all that is? Another way of saying that is, can I rest as that which needs no anxiety to be? And that's what we're about, particularly in this center, is that we constantly reaffirm that we are the I Am Presence, that everyone is the I Am Presence. The I Am Presence is pure awareness. It is that wholeness that encompasses everything. So we look at three things in this process. Let's have the slide of the three things, okay? We're looking at investigation. That's what the questions are about. We investigate our anxiety with an open mind, with an open heart, with a deep sense of forgiveness. We also look at identification. Are we identifying with our anxiety, or are we identifying with that which is greater than our anxiety? And the thing about identification is that when we identify, we don't have to identify at the exclusion of the anxiety. I hope that makes sense to you. Because sometimes when we identify with the greater that is to be, we push the anxiety away and we say, you are not part of me, you are not here. No. We integrate. If we can identify while integrating the perception of anxiety within us, we recognize that we are part of the whole human divine trajectory that is interlinked, that is so beautiful, that is here for a purpose. We were born into this world of form so that we could transcend. And part of transcendence means acknowledging and accepting and embracing all that is. Not just the stuff that makes us feel good, but all that is. We embrace everything. Wholeness is not wholeness unless it encompasses brokenness as well. And so I invite you to rest in those things, and to understand your own anxiety, the anxiety of the world, the anxiety that we see on a day-to-day basis, and know that there's something greater that both transcends and encompasses it. And I particularly ask and invite you to look at all of that with a deep sense of compassion. Let's do that now. Let us pray. Today we join in deep celebration of the truth that is, this beautiful, all-encompassing love that we call God or higher power, that we call peace, happiness, joy. Whatever it is, we trust it as our own, as we unify with it, as we know that it is embodied within us and all beings everywhere. And so from this place we have a new perspective. We have a new perspective of befriending our brains, befriending our lives, befriending everything that happens in the world and within us, befriending our reactions, willingness to look at what is, willingness to embrace what is, to encompass it, to transcend it through embrace, to love it, to find peace in it, to find peace around it, and most of all, to rest in deep compassion. How wonderful it is to know that transformation has happened this morning. Whether it's something small or something big, there is no size in the infinite. And so we move into this place of deep understanding, deep forgiveness, deep acceptance, deep ability to receive the best that life has to offer, knowing that we have taken steps towards doing that today. I am so grateful for this sacred time together, so grateful for this center and for all teachings, so grateful for transformation. And I bless all paths to God in this sacred time. Churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, fundamentalists, atheists, agnostics. I bless everyone, the animal kingdom, the cosmos, for everything. Everything is pure awareness. Everything is love. Everything is God. And with a heart that is so filled with blessedness, I say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, love. And I release these words into the divine mystery of life and love and law that always says yes. And together we say, and so it is. Namaste.
Good morning again. So I had a lot of anxiety when Bonnie asked me to start doing the offering when church took a turn. But what I know is that I don't say no to Bonnie.
Woohoo!
And part of that is because I know that she believes in me. And I knew that from the minute that I walked in that door, that I was coming into a place of family. I didn't quite know exactly what that meant, but it kind of was the first church that I came into that said, you know what, you're okay. You belong. The way you're living your life, we've all done it that way, and let's try to do it better. And so as I look out this morning, I just know that I see a beautiful family that is holding each other up and supporting each other, and that we're all right. And so this morning, in deep gratitude as we do our offering, I just know that we're all in this together. So I invite you to place your offering over your heart and repeat after me. We trust in spirit.
We trust in spirit.
Love is a giver and receiver of all that we are.
Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are.
We offer this gift.
We offer this gift.
It is an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion.
It is an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion.
Our gifts bless many.
Our gifts bless many.
And return to us multiplied in miraculous ways.
And return to us multiplied in miraculous ways.
So that we may give again.
So that we may give again.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Faces everywhere you look now, shining from the faces of each furry creature, all the human races. Open your heart up, compassion will start up. Bump, 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 bump. Open your heart, divine. That's what love is, so fine. That's what love is. It flows with a passion that's filled with compassion. It heals, can you feel it? It's real, so revealing. The love ever flowing, it's where we are going. Open your heart. Open your heart, divine. That's what love is, so fine. That's what love is. It flows with a passion that's filled with compassion. It heals, can you feel it? It's real, so revealing. The love ever flowing is where we are going. Open your heart. Open your heart. Open your heart up, compassion will start up. Open your heart up now.
Thank you so much to our choir who works so hard, and all of the people, Mary, the director, and David, who wrote the song, and John, who mixes it, and all of the singers. Just wonderful. Thank you. A few announcements for us. I think we have some ambassadors here. In case you're new and you'd like to learn more about the church, just ask anybody who's wearing a blingy name tag, or if they're wearing a white stole. They can fill in as ambassadors as well. If you'd like to learn how to make the magic happen on Sundays, whether it's sound or live stream, go back there and talk to those experts, those tech experts that are just so much fun and so wonderful. It's a great team. It's a great way to serve, and it helps people all around the world to see our message. The fourth Wednesday meditation is contentment. That's facilitated by Deborah Gibson, who does a wonderful job, and the information about how to do that is on Zoom. I'm teaching the second half of Embracing Mystical Non-Duality class, And that's going to be in person on Thursday evenings and in Zoom on Friday. If you haven't taken the first half, we can get you set up so you'll be ready on time to take the second half. So go ahead and sign up for that. And it's a wonderful class, very mystical, very life-changing. Introduction to the Enneagram Workshop. This is by Reverend Jean Hoffman, who's a minister at another church, but she lives near here now, so I've gotten to know her. The Enneagram is a wonderful device to help you understand yourself better. She's really an expert, and I really highly recommend that. We're going to do 4 workshops throughout the year, and you can sign up for that on our website as well. We're continuing our outreach, family to family, lifting up our voices to help people rehome by providing donations of small items, also serving lunch on the first Mondays to folks that don't have homes. Choir rehearsals, we're virtual, and again for now because of Omicron, and they are at 11:30 to 12:30. Everyone is welcome to join the choir. And then after the service, if you'd like to pray with a practitioner, they'll be down front. They're wearing white stoles. And those at home, if you'd like to share the good word that we've shared here today, feel free to share the link with your friends. I think that's all we got for now. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll pray us out, okay? So let's pray. And we turn within with deep gratitude for the time that we've spent here together in this sacred sanctuary, trusting and knowing that we have delved into the depths of our relationship with one another and also our relationship with the One. How beautiful it is to remember that we are this center of mystical non-duality, where we inspire each other to allow the love of God to work through us always. And we inspire each other also to take action upon the call of kindness that calls us to serve the greater good for all beings everywhere. Here we joyfully labor to bring the kingdom of heaven, which is the consciousness of God, into the garden, which is the planet Earth. We surrender into boundless grace, and we trust, Divine Beloved, that we are yours, you are ours, all is well. And together we say, and so it is. Namaste, everybody. Thank you.